unfolding in Bangladesh. Let's, in fact, also get you more details on the developments here in India. Now, the BSF has issued a high alert along the India-Bangladesh border. BSF has also increased the deployment in the area. Train services, both passenger and freight services going towards Bangladesh border areas, have been suspended. The BSF DG is also camping in Kolkata to monitor the situation. Meghalaya has imposed night curfew along border with Bangladesh. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar briefed Prime Minister Narendra Modi about the crisis in Bangladesh. Times Now Group Editor-in-Chief Navika Kumar spoke to former Foreign Secretary Harsh Shringla. Let's listen into the analysis.
Mr. Harsh Shringla, if you say that BNP, the Jamaat-e-Islami are on one side, Sheikh Hasina was always a friend of India, do you think it's going to be challenging times for us to have any great understanding with the any interim government which has these two elements, Jamaat-e-Islami as well as the BNP, and then Pakistan exulting, China won't be far behind? What does this mean for India?
Yeah, no, I think, as I said, it's a difficult situation. It could have been worse if that impasse had continued and there was more violence and more, I would say, bloodshed. But in a certain sense, it is somewhat controlled now. Now the situation is to engage those who are taking decisions and to make it clear to them that, in order for a viable relationship, which is, I think, very important both for Bangladesh and India. I mean, if you look at it from Bangladesh's perspective, I think cooperation of India is critical. So we need to engage them informally. I'm not saying formally, and I'm sure there are channels of communication open with all concerned, and to convey to them our serious concerns and our suggestions as to how they should proceed further on this, and how it could sort of lead to a situation where they could restore the democratic process and bring back. And as I think our External Affairs Minister has said, we are looking at all options very actively. So clearly, the meeting that Prime Minister has taken has looked at some of these issues, and clearly there are options for us that would enable us to retrieve, what is.
But I was also reading, you said a lot of support is coming in from exiles abroad. Who are you referring to? And, for India, all options are being explored, but what are these options?
I think as of now, we need to remain engaged with all of our friends in Bangladesh. We need to keep our channels of communication open, especially with the armed forces and the military that has assumed that power. Even if they appoint an interim administration, it will be overseen by the military. So it is something that we need to get into that process and try and engage them on this. I mean, these decisions haven't been taken fully, and we need to be able to input on them. By exiles, I'm talking about those, Bangladeshi nationals who are outside the country, but who form very, very, I would say, serious lobbying groups with the Western powers. Mainly, Jamaat-e-Islami is a very strong lobbying power in some of these countries, and they lobby those governments to take stands and positions against their own government in Bangladesh. So these are groups that have been very active in the social media, active in that political space, and trying to create a narrative that we cannot fully share.
More inside scoop on developments in Bangladesh. Of course, after Sheikh Hasina's ouster, now the focus is on what next for Bangladesh in terms of the next regime. The focus is now on forming an interim government. The President of Bangladesh has met with the services chiefs to discuss the developments, and Muqtada Rashid is joining us on the broadcast with more on this. Muqtada Rashid, what has been discussed in this meeting?
As you know, the last meeting held in the Bongo Bhavan, most of the leaders from different political parties joined the meeting, and the opposition leader, the Khaleda Jia, is released in this order, and one of the biggest challenges for the current, I would say, the government, there is no government right at this point. So there's a big challenge for them to bring all the situation under control. And before forming any interim government, there is a number of reports of killings and say the attacks on the police installation, because the police were mostly used for suppressing the student protests. So there is a factual revenge against the police. We haven't seen in the morning, there is no police on the street, as I visited many places in Dhaka. And last evening, we have seen some military convoy were patrolling, especially around the Ganabhavan, the official residence of the Prime Minister. They are trying to shot it out, and they were literally asking people to restrain from any kind of violence. And so, and right at this point, what we have the update is the Bangladesh main airport, which is called Hazrat Shahjalal International Airport, now is open after 6 hours of absolute shutdown. So now situation apparently is calm.
Okay.
I spoke to some Awami League leaders and supporters. They are really, really afraid of being exposed, or they are really, really worried about their security.
Okay.
And they say that what should they
All right,
need
so
to
you're
do
saying at
right
the moment on ground,
yeah.
the situation is calm. But let's see how things move forward. Muqtadir, thank you very much for joining us with those details. We're moving on now. We have some breaking inputs coming in. BSF is on alert on the India-Bangladesh border. DG-BSF, Daljit Chaudhary, has visited India-Bangladesh border for the second consecutive day now. Today at 11 a.m., we're being told that the DG-BSF will visit Petra Pole, which is in 24 Parganas. DG-BSF will also visit other sensitive border areas of 24 Parganas. I believe Rishabh is with us on the broadcast with more details. Rishabh, of course, India taking all the measures to ensure that the protests and the violence that was seen in Bangladesh does not spill into our territory.
Well, definitely, if we talk about the border of Bangladesh and India, especially the border that we are talking about, the Petra Pole, South Chobis Pargana or Malda for that matter, or for that matter, the Krishnanagar border that India and Bangladesh share, there are rail openings between these borders, there are road openings, even for that matter, there are agricultural field which lies between the fencing of India and Bangladesh, the 150 meters from India side and 150 meters from Bangladesh side, there are agricultural fields that are present between the fencing lines, and hence there are a lot of movement across the border for their daily needs and daily functioning. Apart from that, there are areas like Sili, there are areas like Siliguri, Islampur border, where there are houses in Sili on India-Bangladesh border where half of the building is on the India side and the remaining half is on the Bangladesh side. Given that when the partition happened, these houses were still there, and it remained so for last 7 decades. In areas like Islampur or New Jalpaiguri, between India and Bangladesh border, there are tea gardens, and hence it is very easy for people to move across the border, and that's where BSF comes into action. BSF has ensured that no loopholes, no blind spots are left, no illegal immigration happens to India. India is very clear that they do not want 1970-1971 situation.
Absolutely.
Refugee crisis.